Have you ever planted something that you thought was in the perfect spot only to find it struggling? The secret might be in the sun or lack of it. So today I'm going to show you how to create a sun map for your garden. A simple, eye-opening exercise that can help you pick the right plants and put them in the right places in your yard. And trust me, it's a lot easier than you think. Most people fall into one of two camps. They either skip sun mapping altogether, or they get so obsessed with perfection that they can never finish. The good news is this is really not an exact science. It's just sort of a guide to help you choose the right plants and put them in the right places. You can do it in just one day. It doesn't have to be perfect to be super helpful. A sun map is just a simple drawing that shows how much sun different parts of your yard gets throughout the day. You'll be able to see areas of full sun, part sun, and shade all at a glance on one piece of paper. Sometimes I use different colors to indicate the different levels of sun. Like in the example on the screen here, I used orange for full sun, pinks for dappled sun and shade, and that bluish color for full shade areas. I did this for both my front yard and my backyard, and then on the left-hand side, you'll see the overall map where I combined everything together. So the colors don't really matter. It's just whatever you want to use. Sometimes I'll do yellow for sun, and I'll do little hash lines for partial sun or something like that. There's no real right or wrong way to indicate what means sun and what means shade. Just make a little key at the bottom so that you know what they mean when you go back to it a year from now and you have no idea what those different colors mean on your map. Sun mapping can be a real eye-opener. You might be surprised, I know that I was, to find spots that you thought were sunny are actually shaded in half the day. This helps you to avoid plant stress and disappointment because you're choosing plants on real conditions, not guessing. So the first step to creating a sun map is actually to draw your property. I like to sketch a simple outline of my garden. There's no need for perfect lines. This really doesn't even have to be to scale or anything like that. Just mark key features like trees, sheds, fences, your house. The picture on the screen is the front yard of my property with little marks where the garden beds are, where trees and lampposts are. This is certainly enough to get started with creating your sun map. Step 2 is to pick different observation times throughout the day. So I like to check my garden at 4 times during the day at 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m., and 6 p.m. If you're short on time, you can do 8 a.m., 12 p.m., and 4 p.m., but I like to do the 4 times a day just to get the most data that I possibly can. Make sure that you're doing this on a sunny day as well. The third step is to mark the sun, shade, and dappled shade areas at each time of day. So you're going to take that original drawing that you did, make a couple copies of it so that you have one for each time of the day and then one to combine them all together. And at each time of the day, you're going to note areas with full sun, full shade, and part shade. Use different colors or symbols for clarity, like I said before. So here's another example where I did yellow for full sun, and I did really squiggly lines for full shade, and I did bigger dots for dappled shade or part shades. And if you remember my other map before, I did orange for full sun, blue for full shade, and pink for kind of in between. So here's just a quick time lapse of me creating a sun map for different times a day. I'm using black for shade and yellow for sun. So again, I don't always use the same colors. I kind of just do whatever I'm feeling like doing that day. The dots are representing the dappled areas that are getting a little bit of sun but a little bit of shade. I just repeat this process throughout the day, only marking what I'm observing at that particular time of day. I'm not guessing at all. I'm just observing and then writing down exactly what I'm seeing. So don't get too hung up on this process. Just take it in big chunks. Where is the sun right now? Where is the shade right now? Where are there iffy areas, I like to call them? It's not about perfection, and you're going to combine these mini time maps in the next step to give yourself an overall reading of your entire property. So the fourth step is to combine all of your observations. You're going to layer your notes to create one comprehensive sun map. You'll start to see patterns of sun exposures throughout the day when you look at all 4 of your mini maps. And just a warning, this is where a lot of my students get tripped up trying to just get everything absolutely perfect. So here are just some tips to overcome that perfectionism that you might be feeling at this point. If you're sun mapping every 3 hours and you see that an area has full sun in at least 2 of your 4 observation time drawings, that area is likely getting quite a bit of sun throughout the day. Do those easy parts first, the ones that are really easy for you to see and the ones that are clearly getting a ton of sun or clearly getting a lot of shade throughout the day. So you could see here that this center area in every single map has yellow on it. So it's getting sun for the majority of the day in all of these areas. And then you'll see that this area here on the top right corner is always shady in every single one. So those are the main areas that you would focus on in the beginning, is just marking where is most of the sun and where is most of the shade throughout the day. And then from there, you can try to handle the more difficult areas. But like I said, if at least 2 of your maps have full sun marked, that's pretty good indication that that area is full sun, where the markings are yellow on 2 of 4 of your maps. Part sun to part shade are the trickiest areas to really figure out. Part sun and part shade are terms used to describe areas of a garden that receive between 3 and 6 hours of sunlight per day. The main difference between the two is that plants in part shade need protection from the intense midday sun. I honestly don't stress too much about the differences here in my own garden, and I suggest you kind of do the same. You know that they're getting somewhere in the middle, and just go from there. Some information is better than none. So now I want to go over just 2 different tools that you can use to help you, especially in those trickier areas that you're not sure of. The first one is called Rapidtest Sun Calc. It's a tool. It has a little stem on the bottom of it and a little indicator light here, and actually works on a battery. So you would stick this into the ground, into the area where you want to track the sun, turn it on in the morning, and then you can go to work. And just remember when you come back from work to look at this, and it'll tell you whether it's full sun, partial shade, or full shade. So this is a really good tool to use in those trickier areas where you're not quite sure if it's part shade or part sun and things like that. Cons of this is that you can only put it in one static location, and it takes the entire day to process. So I wouldn't really recommend using this for your entire sun map, but it can be handy when you have trickier areas that you just want to double check. There's another tool online called SunCalc. It's at suncalc.net. It's just a little app on the internet, and you type in your home address and it will show sun movement and sunlight phases during the given day at your given location. So you'll be able to see how the sun is traveling over your property. The only thing it doesn't really take into account is all of the other things on the property. So if you have big tall trees, if you have a shed, if you have your neighbor's house that might be shading part of your property, none of those are really going to show up on suncalc.net. So again, it's a nice tool to get just an idea of which way the sun is traveling, where it's going, but it's not going to give you the same amount of information as actually drawing a sun map 4 times in the day and combining them with your own information. A few key tips to remember is that, again, this isn't an exact science. Your map doesn't have to be perfect to be helpful. The best time to do this is around the summer solstice, when the sun is actually the highest in the sky. But really, any time of the year is going to give you valuable insights, so don't let that stop you if it's the beginning of May when you're watching this, or it's August when you're watching this. Just do the exercise anyway, and maybe next year, mark on your calendar to do it right in the middle of the summer. Some information is always better than no information, in my opinion. Again, the key here is just don't stress. Don't stress about fast changing shade patterns. Just note what you see during your observation times. Don't worry about what's happening in those 3-hour blocks that you're not actually tracking. Just focus on those specific times. Another tip is that seasonal changes matter. Trees will lose leaves, the sun shifts in the sky, and the shadows will move on your plants and on your property. Your sun map is a starting point. It's not a forever blueprint that you can always reference and it will always be perfect. So before we dive into some more frequently asked questions that I get from my students, I thought I'd share some common mistakes to watch out for. So one of the biggest mistakes is waiting for the perfect day. Like, honestly, any sunny day will do, so don't wait for absolute perfect ideal conditions to get this done. Another thing is ignoring obstacles. You have to make sure that you're tracking where fences, sheds, and even tall plants are creating shade that you might otherwise overlook. Forgetting to account for seasons is another mistake. The sun patterns do change throughout the year, so consider how different seasons may affect the light exposure. Overthinking the process is another mistake. This is meant to be a guide, not a scientific report. Good enough is great. And not updating the map is another mistake that I see, because your garden will change as your plants grow in, as trees grow in. So it's important to just revisit this document and maybe refresh your sun map every few years or so to keep it accurate. So I get these questions a lot from my students, so I'm just going to go over these one by one. Does sun in early spring or after leaves fall count when you're doing the sun map? And I'd say the answer to that is not really. You need to focus on the actual growing season of the plants where plants are actively photosynthesizing. So make sure that you're doing this during the growing season at some point. Don't do it in February and expect it to be accurate because the sun is lower in the sky and also there's no leaves on any of the deciduous plants on your property. So that's not going to give you a good indicator of sun and shade during the actual growing season. What if shade shifts quickly in some areas? This is a question I get from my perfectionist students. I say the answer is to just note it as dappled light or part sun. Perfect precision isn't really necessary, so put some dots or use your pink color for that part shade, part sun area and just move forward. How do I know if it's, quote, full sun? If the light is strong but only lasts a few hours. And it's all about total daily exposure with this. So when you're recording those 4 mini maps, you're just observing what it looks like at that moment. Is there full sun in that moment? Then it's full sun on your map. And then on the final map, you're going to add up the hours. So if the hours are totaling less than 6, it's actually part sun. If you're seeing on your maps that at least 2 of them have that full sun exposure, then it's likely to be a full sun area. What if I miss an observation time? I really think this isn't a big deal. Just make notes when you can and adjust as needed. Your first sun map is just a baseline. If you really want to get it right, then reprint everything and try again tomorrow if it's a sunny day tomorrow. Do cloudy days mess up a sun map? And the answer to this is absolutely yes. It's best to pick a sunny day so that you can accurately see where the sun and shade fall. If it's cloudy or overcast outside, you're not going to get a good reading. So make sure that you're picking a really sunny day to do your map. How often should I redo a sun map is another question I get. I'd say once a year is great, but every couple years, if you have plants that are growing in and you're noticing some changes, that might be a good time or a good indicator that you should redo this. If you add a new structure, I know when I replaced my shed, it's actually quite a bit taller. So after that new shed was installed, I actually redid my sun map just to see how much sun that taller building was going to block in my property. So if you found this sun mapping process helpful, you're absolutely going to love my Plant Perfect activity book. This sun mapping guide we talked about today is really just 2 pages of that book. It's filled with all different interactive activities designed to help you plan, design, and grow a garden that you'll love. It's really interactive, so you can write in it, draw in it, and create your dream garden. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can learn more and check that out. So that's really how you create a sun map. Don't let perfection hold you back. Just grab a notepad, observe, and start mapping. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up and drop your sun mapping questions in the comments. Happy gardening, friends. I'll leave another video for you to watch right here, and I'll see you over in that one.